some people have problems getting big muscles. I swell up easily. I don't know why that is, but it seems to suck for the sport that I've chosen. And I'm constantly, I look at weights and I feel like I get arm pump.
Yeah.
What's the point of diminishing returns with muscle?
Well, are you talking about arm pump or are you talking about
Everything.
muscle?
I'm both.
Yeah. When it comes to arm pump, I want everybody to think about if I'm filming you from the side of the bike, and you and Hopper did a great job at my camp at Western. When you guys stood on the box, you could literally go from a seated position to standing, and the bike stayed in a perfectly neutral position. Neither the front or the back wheel touched. That belly button stayed directly over those pegs.
But when my heart rate's at 190,
yep,
I don't have to be riding wrong, and I still get arm pump.
But that's a different story, because the first thing I want to look at is body position, because if your belly button falls behind the pegs, the only thing left to hang on are these muscles in our arms. That's what I want most people to understand. We as individuals tend not to like to lift our legs in the gym. Your quadriceps are the largest consumer of oxygen. So that standing up and sitting down, rough track, your heart rate's already redlining, as you just articulated. So we tend to sit more, which makes it worse. But then when we don't have the leg strength, because we like to work our upper bodies because the women find it sexy on the beach, we don't, most of the guys in the gym have bird legs. Well, you've got to have, exactly. You've got to have strong legs, strong lower back. You've got to have all of those things as strong as possible. I want to address the arm pump first, because I would say 95% of the time when I see people complaining of arm pump and I get video, they're back behind the center of the bike. You're just hanging on with the only muscle left. That's your arms. The second side, like you mentioned, you're in perfect body position because you're good, but you still have arm pump. I look at it as death grip, because if you and I just sit here and we were to do nothing but grab a ball, we grab this tennis ball and all we do is just sit and squeeze this, eventually these muscles are going to get tired. They're just small muscles, but you're holding on to something that you're pushing and pulling, you're turning a throttle, squeezing the brake, squeezing the clutch. Eventually these guys pump up. This is where I always go into, when was the last time in the massage world, we call it stripping the muscle? When was the last time you went in and got a massage and didn't have your back or your legs worked on, but actually had your forearms worked on? Because the skin sits right above the fascia. The fascia sits right above the muscle. Well, if that stuff can't slide and glide, it pumps up. Just like your shoulders, if you ever gotten that crick in bed and then you go to drive and, you have to move your whole body because your head won't move. That's what these guys get. We declare it arm pump. You call this a spasm. So you got to be hydrated so the muscles can slide and glide, but this has to get massaged. And that's what I want people to think about, is from your wrist to your elbow, start massaging that tissue. And I think, Chris, that'll help you out a lot, especially as big as you are. You have to hold the bike because you're going to get thrown off of it just like everybody else. But for you, the bigger you are, the harder you have to hold on. And we forget about that. Just like anything, the harder you have to hold on, the quicker you burn sugar, the more you sweat, the more your internal core temperature goes up. That's why massage, hydration, electrolyte balance, all that has to be in place before you want to come to me with arm pump. Because you can sit there, and I think this is funny. I'll have people say, well, I swear, man, I took, I'm going to say pickle juice just as a hypothetical. Well, what is pickle juice? A lot of sodium. What is sodium? An electrolyte. So when someone's got this cure-all pill formula liquid that's going to cure arm pump, it's total nonsense. What cures arm pump is getting your body centered and letting the muscles be hydrated and not put a death grip. Because if you're crossing all those T's and dotting those I's, the arm pump will take care of itself. Now, there's obviously another thing that hurts our weekend warriors, is they're just not in shape, and that's not a dig on anybody, but again, they want to isolate arm pump. And I'm like, but you're 40 pounds overweight and you're not in the center of the bike and you're sitting more than you should. But arm pump is what gets all the attention. And I don't want that come across as condescending or cynical. I just want people to keep it in perspective. That's all.
So at what point do I stop doing strength and just do cardio?
Never. Always do strength.
But I get bigger.
Just lighten the weight up, because the only way the muscle will grow is when it's subjected to load. Now, I don't want the people to think I'm naive. For someone like yourself, you might be strong enough to curl 45, 50 pounds. Doesn't mean you should. Because if you lift 20 pounds and you do it just enough, and here's the reason why I want the listeners to really key in on this. The reason why I'm a big fan of strength training is it keeps the tendons and the ligaments of the muscles strong. That's what reduces our risk of injury. Another fringe benefit of keeping muscle tone is inside the muscle spindle cells where you burn body fat for fuel. So you're going to be a fat burning machine when you have more lean muscle. Like in our weight loss division, we have everybody lifting weights. We're not trying to make them Arnold. We just want to make sure they're strong enough so they can go exercise, and they need to have lean muscle mass to burn more fat. Every listener is the same way, whether you're a weekend warrior or you're determined, to win Mammoth or whatever the race may be. You've got to have strength training be at the core of your program. If you can get the strength training at the core of your program, you'll be able to push and pull the motorcycle longer. You'll be able to push it faster. You'll be leaner, and you'll be less prone to an injury. So in your case, Chris, you could lift 50 pounds, but that doesn't mean you should. So this word will frustrate the listeners because they'll go and they'll lift 20 pounds and go, that just feels easy. Well, you're not trying to build muscle mass. You're trying to maintain muscular strength. Big difference, because the muscle will only grow when it's loaded, i.e. broke down, and then fed amino acids. And then that's how the muscle rebuilds. It grows in girth and it increases in strength. Well, you don't have a strength issue. So what you want to do is say, okay, I can lift 20 pounds 6 times, and that's very easy, but the muscles will keep now they're not going to get stronger, but you don't need to be stronger right now.